Some come for the glory.
I came 1,500 miles to run on the Great White Dyno.
Others for the cash.
This is my full-time job.
There are vehicles built by hand.
Actual fabrication, probably about 2 to 2.5 years.
And ones that just rolled off the assembly line.
I'm running a BMW S1000 RR.
But no matter what you run, or how much it cost, the goal at the Bonneville Salt Flats is to get your name in the record book.
There's a lot of guys out here with money that aren't setting records, and there's a lot of low buck guys that are.
Oh, money can buy records.
But keep your eyes open.
That don't look good. Don't look good at all.
Because when you mix metal, gasoline, and salt,
I don't think you should leave here with your car still running.
Damn it.
Well, we heard it.
you'll see things you never imagined.
I'm glad I got to see what Bonneville looks like without its clothes on.
It's early morning in the salt-covered desert of western Utah. This is the legendary Bonneville Speedway, where the icons of land speed racing have made their mark. Today, Scott Oliver, an auto parts salesman from Fresno, California, is on the verge of setting a new world record. But before he can do that, he has to get his car to start.
Old run plugs in my black box, and you open the lid, they're on a magnetic strip.
Okay.
Let's throw those in. They're probably cleaner than these things.
Okay.
Mechanical failures are a daily event when you're racing a homemade car built out of historic hand-me-downs. Scott's entry is made from the fuel tank of an old fighter plane.
It's a 1940s World War II belly tank, which is a external fuel carrier that the guys used to turn into what they call lakesters out here at Bonneville right after the war, because there was a surplus of them.
He's part race car driver, part historian.
The mojo or aura of vintage stuff is where I'm at as far as hot rodding goes and stuff.
Come on, baby, go. It's trying. Yeah.
The engine is even older than the body. The block is from a 1928 Model A Ford.
You're not doing it exactly the way they did it after the war, but you have a lot of elements of what they tried to do, and that was, in an economical way, take things and just try and go as fast as you can with what you have to work with.
Yesterday, Scott made a run at 118 miles an hour. That's 4 miles an hour faster than the current record for his class. But to make the new record official, he has to prove he can do it again this morning. The rules are strict. His car has to leave the impound yard and head for the start line at 7 a.m. sharp. Right now, it's 6:45.
Oh, what? The fuel pump's about to fall off. We need some quarter-20 Allens.
The nearest hardware store is 120 miles away.
Can we cannibalize them from something like this shitty tack that doesn't work or anything? Or...
At this point, the fuel pump is more important than the tachometer.
What about these two tack mount bolts?
You got that Allen wrench?
While they work, the other qualifiers start heading for the line.
I shut the primer off just now. It's still not getting fuel to the pump.
And you bled that.
Yeah. They might have broken that hex drive off.
Finding the problem is like a game of mechanical hide and seek.
Oh, there's a ton of fuel at the inlet.
Okay.
That hex has got to be gone.
They are also out of time.
Hi, Brucey. Is it broke? Well, we got a fuel pump problem, but I'm not sure we're broke or not. We're gonna look.
Ready or not, they have to move to the staging area, take their place in line,
Out of the impound area. I know it, Brucey. We're gone right now. We're gone.
and hope to finish the repairs by the time it's their turn to run.
It's turning.
They have only basic tools, so some things, most things in fact, are beyond what they can fix on the spot.
Damn it. I think we broke something in the pump. You know the shaft that comes out, the snout that goes through the back plate?
Yeah.
It's not turning.
You know, we sheared a key off inside there.
Yeah. It's not even trying to rotate the pump. I think we got a dead fuel pump.
That means there will be no world record for Scott today.
That's how it goes, right?
It will be a long afternoon of turning wrenches in the pits before they can start the qualifying process all over again.
This is the pits.
For land speed racers, Speed Week at Bonneville is the biggest event of the year. It's 7 days of open competition that draws over 500 one-of-a-kind vehicles to an old dried-out lake bed in the middle of the Utah desert. Whether you have a $1 million Streamliner or a bicycle with a chainsaw motor attached, there is a class to race in and a record to chase. At rookie orientation, every first-time racer gets instructions about how to race on the salt.
All right, so the one thing I want you to remember is at the end of a good run, the way we turn out is away from the tower.
It covers rules of racing and safety.
If at any point you have an emergency, you turn in towards the tower.
Even for a professional team like Valerie Thompson Racing, there's things to learn.
If you're under self-power, when you come, do you need to stop on the return road, or you can come all the way back?
No, you must stop. You're done. Run is over.
Valerie has raced on salt before, but she's never competed at Speed Week. She already holds 3 land speed records on a variety of motorcycles, but most of her experience is drag racing on asphalt.
I used to be a former NHRA drag racer, and it's quarter mile. It's a lot different out there than it is out here.
This week, she's brought the latest and greatest bike in her collection.
I'm running a BMW S1000 RR.
It's a brand new $25,000 motorcycle that Valerie intends on riding into the record books.
Oh, money can buy records. Money can buy a lot of horsepower, and without horsepower, you can't get records. So I want to walk away with a red hat, to go over 200 miles per hour, set the record, and say that my BMW S1000 RR kicks some ass.
For Valerie, this is just another event on her racing calendar. But for Jerry Winter, a mechanic from Chicago, getting to Bonneville has been a lifelong obsession.
It's been 7 years I've been trying to come out here, and I got tired of waiting, tired of making excuses why I couldn't come out here. So my wife made it possible, budgeting, so that we were able to come out here this year. It really gets to me when I think that I finally made it. During the driver's meeting, the guy said, "How many people are here for the first time?" I raised my hand and he said, "Well, congratulations, that's the hardest part is, making it out here."
He's made the 30-hour drive from Illinois to Utah with little more than a bike, a buddy, and a couple of wrenches.
It used to be my street bike. I pulled the headlight off it, I pulled the tail light off it.
Already, he's discovering that his equipment isn't up to the challenge.
My whole goal was to come out here and get my 125-mile-an-hour license, but I'm doing it on a 10-year-old horse that I turned into a racehorse, and she doesn't want to race anymore.
Ultimately, though, you can only race what you have.
And the faster you want to go, the more expensive it is. That's with anything, though. You know, look at the price of a Kia compared to a Lamborghini.
After the meeting, racers and their crew take a quick trip down the course in their street vehicles to get an idea of what they'll be seeing when they race.
Okay, so this is a half a mile right here.
There are no landmarks and no painted lines. The only points of reference are orange cones, black squares, and numbered mile markers.
We're timed from the 1 to the 2. That's the 1 1/4 here.
That's not a lot to go on if you're traveling 200 miles an hour.
I guess the faster you go, it's less bumpy.
Valerie, Jerry, and Scott have very different vehicles and very different budgets, but they all have the same goal: to put their names in the record books at the most historic land speed racing venue in the world. Valerie Thompson Racing is a big-budget professional outfit, but even they are not immune to the difficulties of racing in the Bonneville desert. Her racing suit failed to pass inspection, and her backup leathers were in Arizona.
$162 and 1 day later.
But a quick call to a courier and a flash of the credit card solves that problem.
Yeah, these are really nice, beautiful. I just need your paperwork.
Okay, I just want to make sure just to ease my because they shipped in overnight. I am stamped and approved.
We brought a new web
Oh, thank you. Love it. Awesome, Val.
At the start line, those old leathers are posing a new problem.
I haven't worn these since 2006.
It's a suit she used to wear for road racing.
Just in a different riding position from the sport bike because I'm up taller, so
If she can't get into an aerodynamic tuck, there's no way she'll be able to break the record.
that's the best butterflies in the whole entire world.
Valerie spends most of the year racing in front of big crowds at drag strips around the country. Speed Week, however, is an amateur event. That means she's sharing the track with a lot of different vehicles.
Look at this guy. I knew it. He didn't even get to the quarter mile.
What happened?
The car broke down.
For Valerie, the delay means another 10 minutes of roasting inside her leather suit under the blazing Utah sun in 104-degree heat. Finally, it's time to race.
Keep it under 400 for me.
Really? Under 150.
Okay.
I'll try.
All right, down to the 2 and out to the right.
That's it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Unlike drag racing, there's no need to peel off the line. She's got a full mile to work through the gears before she reaches the timing zone. Valerie's crew follows her in a pickup at about a quarter of her speed. By the time they reach her, she's already off the track and out of her uncomfortable racing suit.
Well, first shakedown pass, what do you know? I almost forgot that I had to go under 150. I got to 158, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I better start backing up. And then I was like playing with it. I was like, okay. Easy, finesse that throttle.
There's a long list of licenses at Speed Week, and you have to earn them one at a time.
It's hard to do a halfway, a halfway pole versus your mind is so trained to go full throttle and just keep it that way.
Val's first run qualifies her for a rookie license. Her next pass is to show that she can handle the bike between 175 and 200 miles an hour.
Bike 1763 on course 2 at a mile 2's time of 177, quarter mile 185, mile 3 186.393.
Perfect.
186 so far. That's my first one. I can go out. I finally graduated and I went 186 and some change, so they gave me my wings.
After a long, hard day on the salt, Valerie heads back to her room at the Montego Bay Resort.
We have a great suite and I can't wait to take a hot bath.
Jerry Winter's accommodations are just down the road.
We're sleeping in our trailer at the KOA. Showers are a little creepy, but it's cheap. You want a burger?
His only crew is Eric Campbell, an old friend from back home.
Best burger you had all day?
Yeah. I wonder what's going on at home, you know, missing out on just being there.
Jerry has a wife and a baby boy back in Chicago.
It's been a crazy past couple months, so the family time hasn't been there as much as I'd like it to be.
But there's still no place he'd rather be.
See the fins on that?
Uh-huh.
You tell people you go to Bonneville, and a lot of people said, I always wanted to go there. Well, why not? Put something together and come up here and race. It doesn't cost a lot of money. You know, you can race a 50cc bike out here. As long as you build it within the rules, it doesn't have to be $1 million race car. You can race anything out here.
Scott Oliver is definitely in the race anything category. Right now, he's trying to figure out why the motor in his homemade belly tank Lakester won't start. It's like a mystery novel with a dozen suspects.
To the arrow? Okay, stop there. Might have a problem in number 1.
His right-hand man is Daniel Shukin.
I build race cars, hot rods, street rods, pretty much anything that goes fast or looks cool. He called me up one day and asked me if I wanted to build a belly tank. And I'd actually been wanting to build one for a while, so it worked out great and actually become a good friend of mine.
Together, they're trying to combine old-fashioned aesthetics and modern horsepower.
The style is definitely old school. The motor and everything else is pretty modern. I mean, aside from the 1928 block, everything is brand new.
Getting all that equipment inside an old aircraft fuel tank is not something they teach you in school.
Kind of went one piece at a time and connect the dots. You know, you put the wheels where they need to be and put the driver where he needs to be, and everything else kind of built itself.
Right now, Daniel wishes it could fix itself.
Marge, you got a compression gauge? Compression tester?
I got a lot of air if you need it, Ace.
Suspect number 1 is the cylinders.
Ready?
Yeah, go again. So there's 105 pounds. So that's number 1. At least it's got 105. So
The cylinders are okay. That brings them back to the fuel pump. A problem they first noticed as they were preparing to make their backup run.
The fuel pump came loose, got out of alignment. Took us a little while to find that problem, so we were a little hectic because we didn't know what was causing it. Got into the line to see if we could make one last-ditch effort to figure it out and still make it, and couldn't, so it was a little disappointing.
Because he couldn't back it up, Scott's qualifying run is thrown out, which means he's no closer to a world record than he was when he left Fresno.
We'll appreciate it more when we get it, probably, and then that'll just be part of the story instead of the only thing I did out here, you know.
Jerry Winter is a mechanic from Chicago. He's a lifelong gearhead, making his first ever trip to Bonneville.
It was a 1,500-mile journey from my house to here. And you gotta think, it's 1,500 miles when diesel just went up to $4.05 a gallon.
He's spending money he really doesn't have, and he's left his wife at home with their newborn son.
People ask why you do it. There's no prize money in it, there's no trophy. I mean, it's just self-gratification and glory to yourself and to the people that are supporting you.
Now that he's here, his bike is letting him down.
We have a history. You know, it's the first bike I ever rode on.
Jerry left Chicago with a fully functioning bike. But the long trip, the thin desert air, and the oppressive heat have taken their toll. The bike failed on his shakedown run, and now he's forced to do some makeshift repairs.
My plugs, the heads are worn. I went to go get some inserts from the auto parts store. They didn't have any. So I'm just wrapping it with some Teflon tape, try and basically put some material back in there and make it possible for me to run again without blowing a spark plug out.
There's nothing else he can do except take it to the start line and cross his fingers.
Let's go see if we can get a license.
The lineups to make a run are long. Many hours of every day are spent baking under the relentless sun. But those are the moments that make Speed Week such a special event.
You get it in your mindset that you gotta come out here and you gotta, kill the speed, break the record, run it till your shit's broke. I mean, just making it out here is the best part.
The lineups are a chance for Jerry to meet fellow racers, members of a community he's dreamed about joining since childhood.
What are you running? You're Bill.
I am.
I'm Jerry. Nice to meet you finally.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the one that was, we were emailing back and forth.
Yeah.
It all serves as a pleasant distraction from the fact that he's about to make a high-speed run on a bike that is nowhere near top condition.
I'm hoping it starts right away. I don't feel like kicking.
Well, if it does, don't get frustrated.
Oh, I won't.
You ready to run?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fire it up. Motorcycle 772.
For about 30 seconds, everything is perfect. Jerry and his hand-me-down Harley are racing full throttle across the salt. But as soon as he puts it into third gear, it dies. A mile and a half down the course, Jerry's buddy Eric finds him pushing the bike off the track.
What happened?
I don't know. Doesn't smell good. That's racing at Bonneville.
He's not surprised. Deep down, he knew the bike wasn't ready.
You see, the thing is, it's old. I mean, it was never meant to do this. It's vintage. It's funny that they call it vintage, but it's 31 years old. It's the same age as me. So people don't call me vintage. I don't mean to knock, but anybody can go to a showroom floor and buy a new bike and go fast, But I came 1,500 miles to run on the Great White Dyno, and it's always that what if, Well, Now I know. That sucks.
Valerie Thompson has made 3 successful licensing runs. Now she's ready to go after the record.
That's a boy. It's empty. Thank you, sir.
She's competing in a production class, so her motorcycle has to be completely stock with no modifications.
Sample?
Give me a sample of it.
Even the gasoline has to be standard grade.
Okay. Whoa! Whoa! Oh, no!
Most teams buy their fuel on site.
Don't drink it.
Valerie's team has brought their own. Only after it's been chemically tested to make sure they haven't added anything to it can they pour the gas into the tank. Once it's full, the tank is sealed. They have to repeat the process every time they fill up.
Ready?
Ready?
Go!
Valerie hasn't even made her first real run yet, but Ray Garcia, her crew chief and boyfriend, is already talking about records.
When I pick you up, we're going to go to timing slip. I'll hear on the radio whether we did good enough. If we done better than the record, we're going to go over to impound.
Okay.
Okay?
There's good reason to be confident. They've got a professional rider on a cutting-edge bike. There's no reason they can't shatter the existing mark.
Go!
Love you.
Ray gets the results over the radio.
2 mile 186, 2 1/4 196.431, mile 3 196.638, running on a 197 record, mile 4 195.451, and 5th mile 191.125.
She was running really good through mile 2 and 3, and then it sounded like she backed off the throttle a little bit, and she slowed down between 4 and 5.
It's a very strong first attempt, less than 1 mile an hour off the record. Ray already knows how they can improve.
I need to change the gearing. Should give us about 5 mile an hour more speed. So we should be in the, hopefully cross our fingers, in the 200 range today. Which will be, I'll be ecstatic, and then that'll make my week.
5 miles away, Valerie is thinking the same thing.
How'd you feel?
The bike felt great. I felt great. You know, I felt I got tucked in nice and low, and paid more attention to the speed, the RPMs, which is good for the crew chief to know. That way he can gear it for the next run.
We'll get the bike loaded up and go get the slip.
Scott Oliver has had an up and down week. He's racing a homemade belly tank Legster, a car made from the fuel tank of a fighter plane, just the way they did back in the 1940s.
I'm kind of a guy that's into the vintage aspect of hot rodding.
It's a mechanical tribute to Bonneville's pioneers.
I originally just wanted to do this and get out there and run and experience Bonneville, and I had no aspirations of actually breaking a record, and then I started looking at it and saying, wow, we might be able to do something with this.
On his first run, he went 118 miles an hour in a class where the record is 114. But he couldn't make the required backup run because of a problem with his fuel pump. Now he's back at the line trying to re-qualify. He has 2 miles of track to get up to speed. Then he needs to hold it there for a full mile.
Middle to left.
right, middle to left. Okay? Put your arms up. Safety first.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
On course 3, car 1948. Driver is Scott, the vintage Lakester. First mile 119. Second mile 122. Third mile 122.996. That qualifies. He is headed inbound.
For the second time this week, Scott has made a run faster than the existing record.
We did 122.996 or something like that.
That puts him halfway to a record. The problem is, his Lakester is half full of oil.
We realized there was an oil leak at the end of the run because oil was coming out. And we can't find where it was coming from. We've always had a little oil leak, but this is a bigger one. And so we just decided that we're going to have to tear the whole thing down so that we can finally figure out what's causing this, because it's just getting too severe.
Driving 123 miles an hour with oil flying around the cockpit is not an option. So fixing the leak is crucial. If they can't, Scott will have to start over again for the third time this week.
We'll stay here overnight and try and make sure it just fires up and runs good again, and try and back that up, and we'll get a record. So, and as we know, that ain't a sure thing till it happens.
Jerry Winter and his 31-year-old vintage Harley-Davidson motorcycle have had a tough week. For 30 seconds, he was king of the world, racing across the legendary salt flats of Bonneville. But as soon as he put the bike into third gear, the engine and all of his dreams for the week died.
Oh no! Oh.
Back in the pits, his worst fears are confirmed.
Look no further.
That don't look good. Don't look good at all. Here's your comparisons. Chair, I think we're done for today.
I think we're done for the week.
The spark plug is destroyed.
It looks either like the piston hit it, or it looks like it just exploded in the fire. You know, the compression of the motor blew it apart.
Inside the block, the damage is even worse.
When this doesn't move, or it slightly moves and stops, and you hear metal inside scraping, it's toast.
The engine will never run again. It needs to be rebuilt, and Jerry doesn't have the money to do that. His Bonneville dream is over, but the trip was not a failure.
We drove 1,500 miles, slept in the trailer for a week, lived off cooler food and borrowed shit, and came to Bonneville. So, mission accomplished.
Jerry's mission was to stop being one of those people who talk about their dreams but never live them.
For 7 years, I made excuses why I couldn't come. I didn't have this, didn't have this, didn't have this. My wife was the big supporter. I think it was because we got a 1-year-old son, and I determined last year that if I didn't do it, I would never do it.
Now, he has to tell his biggest supporter what happened.
So we made our run. And the motor locked up. So
What happened?
I think a rod let loose.
Well, at least you got one down. How it matters.
Yeah, I made it.
When you're all done, give me a call later.
All right, love you.
All right, love you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Daddy.
It's not the ending that most people would expect, but it's a Disney movie to me, you know? I made it out here and I ran across the Salt Flats. It was a personal dream for a long time and I made it happen.
Scott Oliver wants no part of Jerry's Disney movie.
Yeah, there you go.
He's on the verge of setting a new world record, despite fighting a mysterious oil leak.
We kind of found the source of it. I'm not sure if there's anything we can do about it. The question is if it's so severe that it's going to bring the oil pressure down and stop us from being able to run. We're going to run it till it's broken, so we'll just keep trying to pour oil in it and see. As long as it can keep enough pressure up to make runs, we'll keep making runs.
On course 3, car 1948. Driver is Scott Oliver from Fresno, California. Running on a 114 record. First time mile 117. Second mile 118. Third mile 120. 894. That will do it. You can put the name Scott Oliver into the record books. Good job.
It was a good run, so we made it here to inspection so they can make sure we didn't do anything to cheat.
Inspectors pore over the mechanical details of every car that sets a record at Bonneville, making sure it fits the regulations of the class.
And what do we have coming on here? That's water overflow and drain. Okay. And this one here? That's engine burn down. Okay.
And since a leaking fuel pump doesn't break any rules, Scott's record stands.
Did 120 and change, so about 121. It means probably just as much to me as the guy's 400-mile-an-hour record, you know. So that's because it's your baby. You built it and you're into it and it's your journey.
And what an amazing journey it's been.
We've been through a roller coaster, which was, I'm sure everybody else out here has experienced many, many times. And, you know, again, when it's all over and we're driving home, you know, you look back on it and as a good experience, but it wore us out. So we're really glad to be able to take a moment and enjoy it.
Jerry and Scott are living their dreams on a shoestring budget. Valerie Thompson's MO is a little different.
Racing is very expensive and it's getting more and more expensive as I go along. To have the proper gear, to have the proper equipment, and the proper bike, you know, if you're out here doing it, you need to do it full. You need to go full throttle with it.
This is not a hobby for her. It's her job.
I used to be a banker in 13 years, and then I started riding Harleys and started going fast, and I was told I was out of control to take to the track, so I did, and I fell in love with the track, and I haven't looked back since.
Because she's racing in a stock category, there isn't a lot she can modify on the bike. Changing the size of the rear sprocket is about the limit for mechanical adjustments.
Now we can gear up. Now we can start playing.
Having taller gears means it will take longer to accelerate. But with 5 miles of salt to run on, getting off the line in a hurry isn't important. The only thing that matters is what her top speed is when she's giving it full throttle in top gear. Valerie's team doesn't just want to break the record of 197. They want to set the new mark over 200 miles an hour. That would put Valerie in the 200-mile-an-hour club, the most sought-after milestone in the world of land speed racing.
We're ready. 200, here we come.
Little gearing, little tire change. I think I'm ready.
This time, the news on the radio isn't good.
Mile 4 for Valerie Thompson, 188.660.
What happened there?
Mile 5 for Valerie, 188.192.
Something went wrong. I gotta wait till I talk to her. I wonder if we overgeared it. She's going slower than what we did last time.
While Ray is questioning his choice of gears, Valerie's biggest concern is traction.
What happened?
That was one of the worst tire speeds or spins that I've ever had.
Really?
It was spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. I mean, it would not stop, non-stop. 189, 186.
188, yeah.
Finding the exact problem is difficult.
Course 2, 1763.
But the speeds on the timing slip provide a valuable clue.
189, 189, 188, 188, 188. How consistent can you be?
It's like limit chewing it.
We made 3 changes to the motorcycle, and not sure which change that we made to make us go slower, but I think it was the traction control. We have been racing it in slick mode. Now we went into race mode, and it really robbed us of our traction. So we're going to go back out tomorrow. We're closing it down tonight, and it looks like the weather is going to start picking up, and once that does, close her down. So there we go, I told you. But we're planning on going real fast tomorrow.
Valerie Thompson has everything going for her. A brand new, top-of-the-line motorcycle and a decade of experience racing at high speed.
What I've been doing is making several runs, changing some sprockets up.
The salt flats of Bonneville are proving to be a powerful equalizer.
Got real tire spinach, kind of got all over the place, and I was all over the track. I was like right lane, left lane, center. I was like, I don't like center, I just want to stay left.
The more she moves from side to side, the less speed she has going forward.
We're steadily holding 195, 196. We've had a couple of passes that were backwards, 194 range, but we only have about 2 more miles per hour to take the record of 197.116. So we're knocking down doors and taking down numbers.
Valerie Thompson running on a record of 197. the 3 mile, 193, 170. Not gonna get it done.
For 6 days, Valerie has been running in the mid-190s. There's nothing wrong with the bike. But somewhere in the standoff between horsepower, traction, and air resistance, she's reached the limit of what she can do.
I got real close. We were knocking on the doors, I'd say within a mile and a half. But as a racer, you always want to seal the deal so you can make your record last for years and years.
It's a humbling experience for someone so accustomed to success. But for Valerie, there's always another event next week. For Scott Oliver, this is it. On Monday, he'll be back in Fresno selling auto parts. So today, he's going to push his homemade Lakester to the limit.
I don't think you should leave here with your car still running.
He's got one record in his pocket, but by switching from gasoline to mixed racing fuel, he might be able to set another one.
I think if you want to leave here thinking that you did what you needed to do at Bonneville, it means you need to do everything you can do until your car's not running.
Within the hour, Scott finds himself stranded in the middle of the salt flats with his car not running.
Oh! Yep. I forget the water pump.
Damn it.
Well, we heard it.
Huh?
We heard it. Damn. That's why it was popping and banging, it's burning itself down.
Do you want to turn it on? No?
Sorry, man.
Well, let's see, man. What's going on? Let me get back, okay? You never know with this thing.
Got a good feeling.
The oil pressure was...
Daniel's hunch is that the damage is severe, probably catastrophic.
Man. Well, it's the piston rings I'm worried about. They're probably not in the motor anymore.
Back in the pits, Daniel's intuition proves to be horribly accurate.
So really worse than we thought?
Well, I'm wondering about the exhaust valve because all that chunk of piston had to go out somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the remnants of a destroyed piston that embedded itself in the cylinder head when it came apart.
It's the final day of racing, so there's no time to attempt a repair. Instead, Scott will haul his wounded race car home to Fresno and spend the next 11 months getting ready for next year.
This is a trophy right here, you know. This will kind of just sit there to remind me to really, my second time around, bring more spares than I can possibly imagine.
He's going home with one busted piston and one new world record. It's a fitting tribute to the legends of Bonneville.
The thrill of victory, and this is the agony of defeat right here, you know.
Some people go to Disney World, some people go see the Grand Canyon. Some people spend 50 weeks out of a year building a car to race across salt flats. So, but it's one of the coolest things.
The highlight was actually going down the racetrack and getting down there safe and sound, and I can race again, and that's a great deal.
It's a bucket list thing where it's something I felt I wanted to do before I wasn't able to do it, you know. Although there's guys out here doing it that are 70, they're still driving, you know, so, but I wanted to do it while I was still young.